Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome Lorain County Board of Commissioners, Wednesday, February 14th, 2018 meeting. Mr. Lundy.
Our inspirational word for the day: nothing is so strong as gentleness, nothing so gentle and loving as fortitude.
Commissioner Kokoski has our dog today. Make a great Valentine's Day gift for somebody.
Yeah, $66.
No, we got two already.
Thank you.
I don't have room for a third.
16, wow, we're doing good. People must be thinking about Valentine's Day presents at our kennel. I was just told we only have 16 dogs to pick from, so come here, little boy, come on. We have a little beagle here. When's he available? He will be available on Friday, so it'll have to be a belated gift, but you can take a picture of him and give it to your sweetheart, and come down and get him. It's $66. That includes the license, the adoption, and spay or neuter if he's not already spayed.
Madam Clerk.
Do you want to do the presentation? I don't know if
Oh, they're not here yet.
They're not here
Okay.
yet. 9:45.
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments,
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez.
Good morning, Commissioner Kalo. I do have a number of personnel issues, potential hires at the crime lab, possibly in solid waste. Also, I'm in receipt of some completed contracts with our hardworking law enforcement people from the Sheriff's Department. So we have time, I want to go over those. Also want a pending legal matter I want to talk about, and sale of some real estate that we have. All of those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussions. So I'd ask at the conclusion of our regular meeting, we go into executive session and talk about those matters that I've identified.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of February 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Accept the withdrawal of Brown Hill Township to clean the Maple View ditch petition submitted October 23, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Modify the fee schedule for legal counsel appointed by the court to represent indigent criminal defendants. Additions are to include a new capital litigation fee of $125, payment of fees, and delete maximum fees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, this is something that came up Supreme Court, put a mandated fee on the capital cases, so we just had to change our resolution accordingly in regards to paying them.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Issuance of not to exceed $12,750,000 general obligation Justice Center reducing bond series 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Cordez.
Thank you, Commissioner Kalo. At least anybody think that we're borrowing almost $13 million which I wouldn't mind doing. We have an opportunity. We've been going through, we always continue to look at our outstanding debt for areas of consideration for refinancing and savings. The Justice Center notes that we did about 6 or 7 years ago, and the market conditions were ripe. We refinanced back then. We saved actually a couple $1 million.
$1.8
It was pretty high. We now again have callables, because we built callables into that issuance. So we have the opportunity to relook and refinance. And every one of our issuance, because most people don't understand how bonds work, there's not one big, like your mortgage. Inside your package, you have various series of the bonds that pay different interest depending on how long they're out for. And you can have part of your issuance callable, part not callable. Even though it all adds up to 13 million, we call it one bond issuance. There's really like 8 or 9 of them packaged within the master plan. They're all callable, and some of the ones with longer legs, say the ones that are out in 2031, 2030, we believe we can get a better rate on those than right now, because the real reason is because then not as far out if we refinance. The longer you finance for, the more cost you ultimately have. I think we can have potential savings of about $600,000 to $700,000 on a refinance. Obviously the exact number is not known until we go to market. Conditions could change. They change, we don't refi. It could be a little more if conditions are good. I don't really see that happening. There's been a lot of volatility in the stock market. The bond market's been in a bit volatile, but the rates haven't really climbed significantly. I wish we had this opportunity a year and a half ago. Rates were a little bit lower, but you have to wait. You just can't refinance anytime you want. You have to wait until the opportunity is when you do your callables. Some people never do callables because there's a small premium you pay to have the callables too. Plus, we could actually retire some of this debt if we wanted to. I'm not recommending retiring the debt right now. I'm recommending refinancing it and bringing an opportunity of $600,000 to $700,000 in savings. Excuse me?
After cost of issuance.
After cost of issuance. I have to look at it. I probably will ask them to put some callables in. I want to look at what the effect is on the overall savings, recognizing that there's only 13 years left on this. It may not be worthwhile to put callables into it, depending on the premium for those callables. And I don't really see the market going down in the next 3, 4, 5 years to where it was. So we may not want to pay that premium. But those are things I have to tease out with the attorneys and the bond underwriters as we get closer. So this is a savings for the county, for the taxpayers. We always keep an eye on this stuff, and I need these resolutions to move forward.
Thank you.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Issuance and sale of sales tax receipt bonds in the maximum principal amount of $2,500,000 for the purpose of paying cost of various 911 facilities improvements together with all the appetances.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah,
Mr. Cordez?
I may not do anything right now with this resolution. I had a bunch of questions that started to be answered. We financed a lot of equipment for 10 years as we went through with the 911 equipment. But we're doing building renovations underneath this piece, and we didn't per se finance the building when we picked it up. We had such a nice price on it. Because we're expanding at 911 and we didn't increase the levy, I want to watch our operational costs for the next 4 or 5 years going forward. And right now we're still in the process of picking up Lorain, and we'll have additional capital resource costs there, and it's not so much the equipment, but we're very expensive in equipment and maintenance contracts. We're also very expensive in capital costs,
Lorraine in
capital
regards
human
to fire.
costs.
Well, Lorraine in regards to fire.
Correct.
So some clarification.
So I've been trying to maintain a cash-rich position so that we don't jeopardize our operations. As you know, you can't finance operations. You can finance all of the renovations, upgrade equipment, and that's why you should maintain the flexibility in your cash position until you get further down the road. I don't like the 10 years, though, that they were using. I contacted the bond council, and I said, wait a minute, we're renovating a building. Why don't we sweep all this into the building and sweep the building cost and do 20 years? And we get a longer look at this, and then we can put some callables in early on, and if things are going real well for us, we can retire the debt, but we're not going to get into a cash deficient position. And they're like, well, it's equipment. I said, no, it's not equipment. When you build the building or renovate a building, the equipment is considered part of the renovation, and it's eligible for 20 years. The other piece is that if you already own something and you go to borrow money on it, not a refi, because we're refining the Justice Center debt, but this would be borrowing against an asset, it loses its tax exempt status. And of course, that's a premium because it's not tax exempt debt. Well, I want to drag that in with the renovation, and I believe we can make it a tax exempt issuance for 20 years and sweep all the equipment in as part of the renovation. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I got a lot of bond people right now going through the tax code, and I'm almost positive I'm right, but they're the ones that have to issue the qualification letter for us to do that. I believe that'll come. I may need to change this resolution. If that doesn't work that way, then we'll operate under this one. If it does, then I'll get another resolution that's a little bit different to bring it all in. And then I want to build in, those callables, as I mentioned to you, after we look at the operation in a year or two and we stabilize, because we have a lot more to do yet for Lorain County. We talked about putting the towers up around Lorain County, where we had to put a whole new circuitry in not only from the new center and the one that's our current operating, which is going to be our backup, but we had to go out to every secondary PSAP. All the new equipment is digital. That system that they were operating on is analog. So none of the new equipment can operate on that system. So we're in the middle of building a complete new network to support Lorain County. This is an invisible piece that people don't see. It's expensive. Can I tell you how much all this is going to cost at the end of the day? Some of these are unpredictable costs, depending on the circuitry and how we got to get out there. And of course, we got to freshen our backup after we're out of that, because we have secondary equipment there. Some of the equipment we have will be salvageable, but most of it is going to be new backup equipment too. As I told you, we have what we call the HAL 9000, the one piece there. We only have one of them, and they don't make them anymore, and it's the core of our system right now. Well, that'll all be abandoned. And then we also have to do the backup for the GPS, that we installed a GPS through there, and I promised you phase 2 of that. That'll be coming soon. We'll have a big announcement on that, and we have a lot going on. And the towers, as we know, if we can find suitable locations that we don't have to pay too much for, the towers run about $350,000 with the mounting platforms on them. Inside joke there. Yeah. And I want to make sure that there's never a blackout piece in Lorain County where any of our responders are ever not able to receive and send radio traffic. We've had a couple of those. They're better now because we've worked on, since they narrow banded the frequencies, but we still have some areas I don't feel that are sufficiently served. And this will be for all law enforcement in Lorain County, regardless of what jurisdiction. We're already sharing our tower at the community college with Avon. They contacted us. We saved them a couple $100,000 by allowing their equipment to be mounted up there. And my intention is to mount everybody's equipment on the towers that we put up. And I just got done with the city of Lorain. They're donating their towers and equipment to 911. So we have the towers over there. A lot of cooperation going on, a lot of good stuff. As you know, we started with the new software at 911. So we're going to need to do that, and I don't know where the end point is, particularly with cost. We're fine. We got money, and we have money coming in, but I want to maintain a cash strong position until we have a clear line of sight to what we should do with that cash.
I think the public really supports 911 as by the last levy renewal, and just trying to explain what we're doing in regards to the new equipment, redoing backup and all the available technology and making it work so everybody's connected in the county law enforcement. We have somebody somewhere and it's a dead spot.
Sure, I'll give you an example, Commissioner. We have a backup generator at 911. And we service those and we run them. And of course, every time you go to use it, somehow something seems to be wrong with it, but it's been okay. But if you remember about 3 years ago when we had these, minus 10, minus 15, minus 18 degree weather, we were having a real struggle getting diesel out when the power went out to run those generators. Ultimately, we were able to do that, but I got a little worried that our backup generator was not going to be fueled sufficiently. So what I did over at this building is there's a huge natural gas pipe running through the back of the property on an easement. So I wanted a diesel generator and a natural gas generator. So of course the engineer said
as a backup.
As a backup. So backup to backup. And of course the engineer said, well, why don't you just go with natural gas and not have to worry about the diesel? Well, I also had to remind them that during that winter, the pressure fell in the area, and we had whole neighborhoods that couldn't get sufficient pressure to run their furnaces and everything else, and that could happen to our gas generator. So yes, it's a backup to a backup, and also there's two separate grids in that area, so we're also pulling electrical power, and it's expensive, but we're pulling from both grids. So if one of the grids go down, it's like, when you look out and your neighbor's lights are on and yours aren't, because you're on a different part of the network, and it could be right across the street. They're on that grid, you're on another grid. So we'll have backups to the electrical grids, we'll have dual capability in backing up the generators, and then I also had them pull power from the 911 building and trench it over to the Drug Task Force building. We won't be able to carry all the equipment there, and I had no intention of doing that, but we're going to run about an 80 or amp service into that building for their electronic equipment and some backup lighting. They just need enough to be able to properly shut down and secure the building. So rather than put a generator on that building right now, I'm actually using the 911 building to service that building. I drove the electrical engineers crazy, but in the end of the day, they saw that everything was possible. So we're spending some money, but very cautiously, but we're putting on 911 in a position where it'll truly be multi-dimensional capable. Our current one only has one fiber optic line, we have one generator, that we have one core, all that's, we're going to be redundant in everything, and that's the way it needs to be, that's the way it should be. So again, I'm recommending that we finance everything, and then we take a look at this when we get done with this, and we retire some of that debt. Obviously, I want to retire some of it, so that's why I want the capability to retire it, and we can have those conversations in a year or two.
We don't
Yeah.
have the threat of the cell phone charges coming off anymore, do we?
I don't think there's any problem with the state with reducing the cell phone. Some communities are going to have a big problem because there's limitations. They're trying to push everybody into sole single PSAP arrangements. Now, I made a comment earlier about the secondary PSAPs. Let me clarify that. We are a one PSAP county. We have a primary PSAP location. That is our current location that we're moving and rebuilding a new one. The secondaries are where we send the calls and things out to Lorain Police, the Sheriff's Department, etc. That's the proper arrangement, and that should be there. Some communities have multiple primary PSAPs, and they don't. Each primary PSAP does not communicate with all the secondary PSAPs in that community, and they're going to start. They've been starting. They're already squeezing them, and they're going to reduce the funding to those communities that do not have a primary PSAP because they see it as highly inefficient, confusing to the taxpayers, confusing to the residents. You can live 2 blocks over, let's say for example, and I'm just going to use communities, it doesn't mean it this way. You live in Columbia Station and somebody lives 2 blocks over in Strongsville. Well, the calls are going different places even though you're in the same community. I know those aren't the same county, but and it's really wild for the people there. You saw that one, I think it was in Cleveland a while back, where the ambulance stopped, wouldn't cross the street to East Cleveland to pick somebody up. And the worst offenders are the bigger communities. Cuyahoga is chopped up into half a dozen primaries and so many secondaries. And luckily here in Lorain County, we've been able to foster the cooperation and more and more. We were a little widespread a few years ago, but by working with the Fire Association and the Police Association, the Sheriff's Department, I don't think people appreciate how much we've tightened the noose on all of this and how much we're working together on all of this. I talked to Mayor Hunter last night, and he was upset because he wanted these new equipment mounted somewhere, and said the people mounting it said that, well, the county said this is all they're going to pay for. And I said, we didn't say anything like that at all. I said, you call them up and you tell them to mount the stuff where you want it in your PSAP, and if they don't have a problem with that, call me. So, you know, this is the cooperation we have with folks. I'm really happy with how our relationships are going, and there's more to come.
Yeah, I know anytime, Lori, they try to bring up tinkering with that 911 surcharge in Columbus, the safety forces just came out in mass and didn't want that tinkered with at all. But I can't thank the voters enough for supporting 911 and cutting through some of the nonsense that was out there not to support the levy, which would have jeopardized public safety. So common sense prevails again, and we have a safer community because of a stronger 911.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Issuance of not to exceed $5 million Transportation Center project bond anticipation notes for purpose of paying cost of a railroad platform passenger rail construction project together with all necessary appetances.
So moved.
Second.
Go
Discussion.
ahead, Mr. Cordez. It's $5 million, but this is all money that we're going to get returned to us.
Well, I hope so.
Right. From the drive.
Oh, my God.
You know, it's, and this isn't the only money I'm going to need. If we stay on track and we meet our commitments, and I just got a 2-page letter from the FTA, you know, journalizing all the conversations I had with them through the holidays in December, and which began around Thanksgiving time, and I believe we'll get reimbursed. If we miss, we're not going to. I mean, they're pretty strong in their position that we have to get this project moving and get the progress that we've agreed to done. There's a lot of moving parts to it, as you know. Jerry's been working on the leases with Norfolk Southern. We're working with Amtrak. There's a lot of things we don't control, and I don't like, you know, being, you know, not able to keep a firm handle on things. The railroads are hard to work with. They always have been, but they are cooperating. Norfolk Southern's invested a lot of time in working on the contracts with us. The gentleman we work with is down south. It's not local, but he has tried to accelerate with us. We still need to finish the Amtrak piece, but I'm comfortable we'll be able to do that. We've been out for a construction manager. One of the things we agreed to, as I explained to you, we just don't have the expertise to be up there on the tracks. That's working well. I believe our bid documents for the phase 1 will be here next week. I was checking on them yesterday. I want to have them on the agenda next week so we can go out with that first round, because we have to award that before the end of March. It's one of our requirements and milestones that we have to meet. But I think it'll be okay. But, you know, am I going to give you 100% assurances? No. There's variables here. I think we can meet those things. Will it be problematic? I'm not so sure, but we're under strict milestone guidance. That said, we have to have cash to be able to award contracts. The arrangements we have on these funds, I mean, there are multiple funding streams, not just one. There's lots. This is like, you know, a lot of tentacles. Is you pay and then you beg, and then maybe they reimburse you. So we have to have availability of those funds to do this project. I anticipate this project running $9 to $10 million. Once again, we still don't have all the final engineering. We haven't cost added it. A lot of that will come out. That's why I haven't asked for additional toll credits yet. I'm trying to get a look at, we'll have the final engineered documents to go to bid in April. This is, phase 1 is all the precast concrete that we're going to use, and et cetera. Until I see that second set of bid documents and I have an engineer's estimate of cost, I don't want to ask for additional toll credits and then have to go back to the well again. So I'm hoping to decrease the reliance upon our local funding by getting more toll credits, but I have to be exacting, or at least closer than I am right now. Right now, you know, I got too big of a variance in what we may need and not need. So this is the beginning of that, so we can let those contracts in March. It takes a little while to get this money, and I need to do this now so I have money available the 3rd week of March to award the contracts. And we're not going to have to rate these notes because I'm retiring some construction notes for other projects, and I'm just going to reissue those construction notes, so I don't have to worry about getting them rated. The other ones I have to rate. I have to see Moody's and Standard and Poor's, and I don't know if we're going to do Fitch's. And I'm not sure I'll let Mr. Kalo go and dance with me, but he did a fine job the last time when we did the rating.
Take a steam thing for your suit.
Yeah, take a steam thing for my suit.
Yeah, you got to get a nice suit bag, other than that wrinkled thing you brought there.
It's a really nice suit bag to wipe. It just wasn't meant for air travel.
But we should get reimbursed this $5 million and any additional funds. Our local commitment was $500,000 to $700,000.
We're not gonna spend the full $5 million, right, like, expend that right off the bat.
You have
Isn't
to
it
go
gonna be
to-
incremental?
Correct, but you have to, when we award contracts, you have to have availability of funds.
Right.
You know, you're not paying them
I-
out yet.
Yeah,
We
I
gotta have
know,
it
but
in
I'm
the
just
bank.
saying, if, like, the first $1 million, and then they are not gonna reimburse us, like you said, we have to go beg, if they don't give us that first $1 million, then what?
Then you own a bunch of precast concrete.
That we don't, yeah, then we don't do the project, because we know they're not gonna, if they're not gonna pay the first
Look, Commissioner,
draw, right?
we're going to get this.
This project
We're-
makes me a little nervous, you know.
We're going to get it done.
Right.
Okay? But if you think I'm going to sit here and give you absolute assurances on variables I
No,
don't control,
no,
I
I'm not
can't.
saying that, I'm just saying we're not gonna spend the full $5 million right off the bat, we're gonna do it incrementally, and then know if we're gonna get.
I think the first contracts are
Prepaid.
going to be a couple $1 million. And then of course, right now, we've already fronted money out that I need to recoup to the general fund. We got engineers working, we got architects working. We've already fronted that money. So, I need to get that into the project cost. Maybe the money will be rolling. I had a conversation with Commissioner Kalo right before the meeting this morning, and he said, well, is that going to be enough? And I said, well, we may need up to 10 million, 9 to 10 million. I said, but it depends on how well the roll goes.
Right.
We may be in the draw period on some of this money and need less on the second
Right.
set of money. I just don't know.
That's a clarification I asked for this morning before we came in, just so I had it right. I thought that's how we were gonna do it, but I wanted to make sure
But it depends on how quickly the process is that we submit for drawdown on our various funds and how quick those drawdowns come. And there's questions on them, not questions on them, and it's anytime you're using federal dollars, it's a complicated matter of trying to get reimbursed on the funds. And I'm not going to jeopardize holding up awarding contracts and meeting the milestones, which are very tight on this project, because we're trying to cobble together $1.98 because we don't have availability of funds because we're waiting for the check to come in the mail.
But at the end of the day, the way this is structured, our investment may be about $750,000
That's about where
for the
we
overall
thought.
project. I think that's important for the public to know. And I don't know about my colleagues, but a lot of people I've run into, there's been positive feedback
Yeah.
on this project and this initiative. I think public just wants to see it done. There's always the naysayers, of course, but I think overall the feedback has been positive. But basically, with everything the way it's structured, our participation investment should be about $750,000.
And I'm hoping to reduce that
Right.
number. Now, I don't believe it's going to be above that, but I'm hoping to reduce that with additional toll credits. And there may be some availability over at NOACA with some
Correct.
flexible money.
Yeah, it's transportation regards, so I mean, once we
Right.
get that far into the project, then we'll work
Gotta
on the
get down the
application.
road
We gotta
first.
get down the road before we can enter that, right?
So I think there may be some more supports down the road. And then I got to deal with the operational cost. We have some strategies we want to deploy. I haven't done that yet with the operational cost. And then, of course, I have to find logistically how to keep the center open, keep the trains running, and do all this construction.
Along with Greyhound too?
And Greyhound coming, and our transit bus coming, and remember, it's a community center down there, and we do have commitments for the community center. So we'll work it out, we always do, but there's a lot of moving parts, as I indicated to you. But I feel rather comfortable in the project. I don't have too much anxiety on this, but it's going to be complicated. And of course, I want to get the courthouse done. I wish the courthouse was done. They're going to be finishing up right around the time that we start really blowing this project out, but we're now running them all at the same time. We're building the health department, the courthouse, the 911, the drug task force, the coroner, and now the train. We got a lot of projects that we need to keep elevated and keep those don't lose the bubble on them, so to speak, and make sure that they progress the way they're supposed to. If you haven't said, they put the LED lighting on the courthouse this week. That's what those things being mounted are. So things are moving nicely there.
With heat rings?
Excuse me?
With heat rings?
Well, the heat ring's going to be on the memorial piece there.
Okay, how about on
Those
not
are
on
the
LED
uplighting.
Oh, yeah, LEDs are.
Well, yeah, I certainly hope so. I don't know how that lighting works. I know the snow gets on those lights and it doesn't melt. And
I know, that's why I bring it up.
so, look, we're paying a lot of expensive people to figure this stuff out. But I think it's going to be really great, and we're going to start getting ready in the next 2 weeks for all these groundbreakings and openings. I definitely want the public to be able to walk these facilities before we operate in these facilities. I think that's very important for them to be able to see and touch what ultimately that they're funding. Most times they don't get to do that. And so I'm really looking forward to some good time with the public on these buildings.
Wonderful. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Repeal Resolution 051045C adopted December 30, 2005, creating 8 incentive districts located in Lorain County, declaring the importance of parcels within the districts to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation for specified periods, designating public infrastructure improvements that will benefit or serve such parcels, requiring the owners of such parcels to make annual service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a redevelopment tax equivalent fund, and authorize related actions pursuant to ORC 5709.77 through 81.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think we do need to talk
Yeah,
about
got to
this.
talk about this. This is pretty extensive. This goes back to our first year.
Okay, here's the thing. You know, clearly some people out there know, and there's been a minor amount of attention to it, that we've been working on the quarries project
Right.
again. Started about a little less than a year ago. Hasn't really progressed as rapidly as we want, but we're working on it as we move through. I'm comfortable that I believe we're going to see a project, and I believe that if everything falls in place, we'll probably be doing some kind of ribbon cutting sometime close to the fall. A lot later than what the developers wanted, but all the old pieces that we had in place that we worked a long time on are no longer good.
Right.
The sewer agreement with Lorain expired because there was no construction within the first 10 years. It's been a bit of a challenge under their new look at how they do service outside their boundaries. It's been hard, but I think we're getting there. We've been working on a new agreement now for, what, about 7 months, 8 months?
At least, yeah.
And of course, it's going to be a little bit more costly because they have a different way that what we negotiated way back then. Too bad we couldn't operate under that agreement. It was a good agreement for everybody, but it expired. The second piece is water service that we're working on. And then, of course, we want to build the west side sewer down Barnhart Road. The public good is something that we've worked very hard with the developer on, and because we're not going to build a private sewer with public dollars into a gated community. So how much service is going to be available for the areas off of Barnhart Road, because the reason you don't see any development over there is there's no sewers.
Can't flush a toilet.
That is, the Turnpike Exchange is the least used Turnpike Exchange on the whole run to Ohio. And I think once you see sewer service out there, you're going to see some movement and development. Clearly, I started having conversation. I want to get over there and work with land management and growth with the township, like we did in Columbia Township.
Right,
do
the
their
master
land use
planning
plan,
and-
master planning, sewer master planning. We did that in Columbia Township. It worked out real nice. I want to get into those communities that are going to now have sewer service available, so that they can control their community. You don't control growth by trying to inhibit it. You control it by good land use management and planning and zoning. But that said, we've suffered from an inability over there to service that area. So the TIF, we're going to do new TIFs. This one is not suitable for this type of development any longer. In fact, this one, it happened during your first couple of years, but this TIF was developed for the prior owners of the quarry. Transeuropean, that put millions into their designs, and then they had a fiscal collapse and they had to walk away from it.
Remember we were going to cap the quarries?
No, that was one
Make
of
it
the,
tropical?
that was one of the dreams. They had some dreams, but it wasn't just dreams. These people spent millions
Yeah,
on
millions.
their design work.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as if we had somebody with a crayon and they came. These people, they were
Right.
serious about wanting to put a resort in.
Ryder
out
Cup
there,
golf
but
course, it was extensive.
The company had a fiscal meltdown, and that was it. Just like when we talked to the mall people back in the early 2000s, I think when you were with Deliri at that time, had a grand plan for how to reinvigorate the mall, and then the company hit some financial problems and they collapsed. So I'm comfortable with this. We're going to do new TIFs. I've met with the school district, because obviously we have to work with them. There's clawbacks for the levy activities. I don't know how much money is going to be generated. That's a problem with the sewer still. So I'm trying to put the funding together. Ultimately, I need to come up with about $22 million somehow, all in for these services, and that's going to go all the way down Baumhart Road, and but how we fund this is going to be a big deal. I'm hoping most of it comes from the TIF. Then I'm going to talk with the developer about some developer money in it, and of course we're going to need some county money in it. All I need to do is point to the 250 sewer in Erie County, and when they put that in the ground, 2 commissioners lost their jobs, but a couple of years later they built Kalahari and lots of other things.
And they've made so much money they got to roll back a 0.25% increase they used to pay it on their sales tax.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, if there was a sewer down Baumhart Road, maybe Kalahari would have been in Lorain County.
No.
I'm not saying it would have, but we did not have any. They couldn't even look at us. And in fact, when we were looking at land when Summit Racing was thinking about leaving around and coming over to Lorain County, which would have been a huge build. We went over there, but we could not look at a lot of those tracts of land because we couldn't properly service it with sewer service. So we got our arms around this, but we still got a long way to go. But we need to rescind these TIFs because they're no longer sufficient. Some have expired, and we're going to continue to work with our lawyers out of Cleveland and their lawyers, and then meet with the parties, and hopefully we can hammer out a new TIF in the next couple. I'm hopeful that it's 6-8 weeks we can get this done.
Well, I actually ran into Mayor Lashinsky the other night at a meeting. Nice discussion. He's very happy with what our departments have been doing and working on. He actually talked about, they're talking about stormwater issues now out there, and I told him about Oberlin, and I think he already had preliminary conversation with you, correct, Don?
Yeah, the village is thinking about joining the district, so I'm pretty happy about that. I want to finish the Oberlin piece first.
Right.
And then we'll talk to South Amherst. And ultimately, South Amherst is a very older community, and they have significant sewering issues. And this sewer is not going to service the village yet, but it's going to get down Baumhart Road quite a bit.
It'll be oversized to accommodate.
It'll be oversized. A lot of it will be gravity, some will be forced main. Rather than going all the way into the plant on the west side of Lorain, we're going to tap into the underutilized sewer on Baumhart Road on the other side of 2, because that whole area is just, they had a big sewer over there for the Ford plant, and all the things that were going on. It's really not being used, and we'll get a tremendous amount of capability for the west side, but eventually we'll have to take that line all the way into the plant if we're going to service all of the west side of Lorain County. But we'll build what we can now in anticipation of greater capacity. So we're going to oversize everything we put in the ground for the proper servicing of the whole west side of Lorain County. And then later on, we'll have to upgrade certain pieces of it, not that part. They weren't really happy about that, but I refused to consider a sewer that was not going to be able to be expanded upon later. And I wasn't digging up what we put in the ground in 8 years to do that. So everything needs to be scaled except the last pieces going into Baumhart Road, and then later on we're going to restrict that, and later on we'll go to the plant if the expansion comes behind the sewer. And I'm not going to speak to the quarry project, what we're seeing, because we have a developers agreement. All I'm going to say is that we're back in play, and at the right time, when we can put this whole mosaic of requirements together, then there'll be more to come on that. But we're under agreement not to talk about those things right now until we can get the services and get all the agreements in place.
Wonderful, thank you. Nice explanation.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Do you want to do the presentation?
Yeah, why don't we-
Yeah, we can. Let's not hold these guys up. We have Lorain County Community College here, Program Director Adam Schmith from Sage and Seed Restaurant, and we have students. Did all 3 students make it, or just 2? Just 2. Shontae? Come on up, right up here. Oh, they're taping. You're getting your 15 minutes of fame, guys.
Wow, okay. So, good morning. Thank you for having us here. Some of this panel looks fairly familiar, like we've had some meals together.
Yes.
A few.
I am Adam Schmith. I'm the director of the Culinary Arts Program at Lorain County Community College, and I've brought 2 of my top students here today to kind of give you an update on where we have been going with our program in the past 5 years, and I brought some information that's kind of exciting for those that aren't aware of the restaurants and the interaction with the community that we've really developed over the past 12 months. So looking back at our program, just kind of an overview, we are in our 5th year. We started with an average of 6 to 8 students in each class, and some of our classes would run just in the spring and some would run just in the fall. We're proud to say that we now offer mirrored fall and spring semesters with duplicates of classes with enrollment of 12 to 14 in each class. Let's see, 2 years ago we had 8 students graduate. Last year we had 18. This year we will have 25 with associate or short-term certificates. We have also been approved by the Ohio Department of Education with several CTAGs and articulated agreements that reach out to the vocational centers and the high schools to get the students into our program and get them through a little bit quicker. So we're very proud of that. We've also been approved to move forward with a 1-year technical certificate program instead of a short-term certificate. So the individuals that join our culinary program get a little bit more in depth so that when they go out into the workforce that they are a little bit more in tune with what's actually going to happen in the real world. So we have seen some tremendous growth, and we have no anticipation of stopping this roller coaster ride all the way to the top. It's just been an overwhelming experience, but we have embraced it and we have grown because of it. One of the things I wanted to share with you today, and some of you may be familiar with it, we have opened a restaurant inside of the college. It's actually called a capstone class, which senior students are required to participate, where they learn how to work in the front and the back of the house. So it's our final staging before they actually go out and they have to work in the workforce. So we have brought some menus for you that we're going to leave for you to take a look at. We're open on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings, and we are open from 5 to 7:30. So because it is a actual class, that's the window that we have to prepare our students each week for the service. And I would probably say that we will be recognized as one of the top, if not the top restaurant in that short period of time, because of the level and the high standards that we demand out of our students, both in the front and the back of the house. So I have 2 students with me today that I wanted to share with you. I have, to the left of me is Jordan Krystowski, and to the right of me is Shontae Jackson, and both students are in their senior year. They are scheduled, and I'm honored to graduate them this May. They have both performed at very high levels. They have entertained national competitions with the American Culinary Federation, both receiving national recognized medals in their skill sets. So I'm going to turn to them to tell and let them tell you a little story about them. And then I want to come back and I want to share with you our community outreach to the farmers and where we plan on going, so you can see that our program is not just an academic side of it, but we also have opened up a community institute and share with you the farmer partnerships that we've just built. So Jordan, why don't you step up and tell a little bit.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I actually am a 2012 grad from JVS, the Culinary Program at JVS. From there I went to another college and transferred over to LC, which worked out very well for me. I am in my last semester at the college, my last lab class. I currently am in the back of the house for the Sage to Seed restaurant capstone class that Chef was just explaining. So I am finishing up my last 4 weeks in lab. I'm very excited. I was also very fortunate to become a teaching assistant, so I'm there's some non-credit classes that we're offering now in the evenings and weekends. So I was fortunate enough to teach my first class, and it was on sushi, so I had a lot of fun doing that. I look forward to doing more classes like that as I finish my degree and get out into the workforce. So. Nice.
Hello, my name is Shontae Jackson, as he's already stated, and I was in the program earlier, and I had to take a little step back, and I came back full throttle with the support of Chef Adam as well as the college community as a whole. I'm the specialty chef at Kendall and Oberlin with the skill set that I had learned within my first year at the LC program, and so now I'm coming back and getting ready to graduate in May. And again, I would like to give back to the college in some type of teaching aspect as well. such as Jordan, I also did a class. I did the wine class, which was awesome, where I got to prepare little appetizing courses to pair with the wines that Gary Twining was doing that evening. So it was just an awesome experience to really get out in front of the community and the people and see how welcomed we are as students, but also already looked at as professionals. And the standards that LC sets for us is really showing that through our skill set and through our fellow classmates as well. So I'm very grateful for the director, Chef Adam, and the arts program as a whole.
I was just
Wonderful.
curious, when I run into parents, and sometimes they say, well, my kid's not really wanting to go to college, but my kid loves to cook. And so many times I've said, why don't you try to introduce them to this program? And so I guess what words would you have for someone like that who maybe likes to cook, but maybe they think, well, I don't know if college is quite for me?
Well, one of the things I always say is go with your heart and your passion, because that's what I did. I've been in the industry for a very long time. And I just started as a busser. Get a job in the industry while you're young, and as you grow, see if you develop a love for it. I have a natural love for it, and I've been in the industry. So there's always jobs, and you can make very good money and being a chef or being in the culinary industry. There's so many different levels and so many things you can do, from business management to owning your own operation. So don't just look at it as far as just being a chef, but look at what you can do in the realms of the culinary field, because there's so many aspects to it. And loving to cook is just a small piece of the big puzzle.
And cooking is cool now.
Oh, it's so cool. It's
Right?
everywhere,
I mean, all the
right?
shows on about
It's
cooking and
everywhere.
all the kitchen, Hell's Kitchen and all that. So it's cool.
I have known Shontae a very long time,
Yeah.
from her old
Yes.
Jackalope days, a very long time, and she's always very good, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, if you would have showed up where you're supposed to be at Christmas time, you would have had the
Yeah,
food.
she was there.
I'm sorry, I was sick, guys. Doesn't happen too
There's
often.
always next year. So when I have students that speak at this level, I should shed a little concern on, are they coming after my job? But this kind of shows the level that we were taking them to. I think when we first opened up the college, we had a sight on where we wanted to go, and we really didn't apply it at that time. And in the past 24 months, we have stood some firm ground, and the barriers that we have broken and where we've gone. This is just a representation of just 2 students out of 70 right now. Our placement rate is over 99% of students that are actually graduating and go right into jobs within 3 months. The retention of that is probably about 80%. Sometimes these students, they have to find their niche, so they go from job to job, and sometimes they need to get that additional development inside of an actual real setting where we actually make sure that they understand when they leave us that they are not chefs. And so you're going to go out there and you're going to earn this. And it's very important that they put in their time, not just with us, we give them the foundation and the skills, but that they go out and they really develop again underneath the arms and the tutelage of others. So that's very important. I'm very proud of these two. Like I said, I wish I could bring the entire class here, but I only have a 4-seater. So I've talked about the Sage and Seed restaurant. I'd like to touch a little bit on the Culinary Institute. This past summer, this brainchild came to the administration and said we should really reach out and start offering classes to the community on the high level of the academic side without the pressure of being evaluated on that side. So we put together a list of about 20 classes that range from entrepreneurship courses to walk with us workshops where you learn how to use stir fries, to sushi classes, to making sausage. And so we wanted to see if it worked. And it didn't just work, it overflowed with enrollment to the point that we have already had over 200 individuals attend our classes, and we have just launched another 25 classes. And we did that this past Saturday, and we already have an enrollment of 50. So we are really onto something hot here. And one of the things that Jordan kind of broke in with was a teaching assistant program. I believe in building from the inside. And so this program I've developed is for students that achieve on an extremely high level, that understand the standards of the kitchen. They get to be underneath the wing and be trained to teach the class, and then actually take over the class, in which they have an opportunity to make a little bit of extra money on their own time. And then they also recognize the importance of structure in a classroom and what it's like to educate somebody, and the challenges with it and the rewards of doing it right. So it has been an impressive 24 months, and we anticipate more. Our Farm to Fork movement this summer also, it's been quite a busy summer. We reached out to the community, and Dr. Ballinger called me one day and said, hey, we're on a farm, and they make the milk for the Lake Erie Creamery in it's Lorain County. You should touch base with them. I said, well, we're already buying that stuff. We're already using it. Well, guess where else I'm going? I'm going over here to a produce farm, and they also have a farm-raised tilapia. So we have brought on and partnered with 5 local farms from Lorain County. They now service our restaurant with their product, all the way from cattle to farm-raised fish to dairy to 3 produce farms. One of them that has offered us a plot, and we have planted product that we will harvest in about another 3 weeks. That will then become, so the students are getting involved. They're actually digging in the soil and learning the importance of it. So we have embraced these 5. I'm sure that there's about another 100 that would like to join on with us. And then as we pilot through this, we anticipate more partnerships that not only benefit the community, but the college and the students in the long run. What else do I have for you here? Some good stuff. Well, I've talked a little bit about the students as well. We also have offered on several other levels. I talked about the American Culinary Federation. The college now holds the next 5 years of national competitions to be held there, as well as the FCCLA, which is the Ohio Vocational Program where they come. We also hold that for the next 5 years as well. So we have rolled out the red carpet to bring as much into the community and into the college that shows not only the academic side, but the community side. And the turnout has been phenomenal.
How big of an event is that?
Well, the American Culinary Federation, first of all, is a nationally recognized throughout the United States. And we have a certified master chef that flies in or is local that comes in. One of 67 in the world will come and evaluate our students. We get about 100 people throughout the building a day to watch the event, and we also have about 20 to 30 competitors that come from all over the United States, as far as Los Angeles, to compete within our borders and to be evaluated on that national level. Wow. It is a wonderful opportunity to be evaluated by others than you deal with on an each and every day basis, because they hear the same things at a much higher level. These are chefs that literally look critically at every potential piece and tear it down and tell you how to recreate it, where we are continually building up those pieces to just have them brought down by another secondary opinion. So it's very important that they get that nice balance inside of there. There's neither right nor wrong, but it really gives the student that great balance to move forward of what's right and what's wrong and what's expected in the industry. So we have really gone to some high levels. Our anticipation is to become recognized as the top culinary school in Ohio, to have the standards and curriculum that Johnson & Wales and CIA and Cordon Bleu carry inside of their programs. We understand that we are a community college, and we are not going to let that be a barrier, because we are going to compete with what the students are going to have to compete with, which is everybody in the world that wants that job. So we are preparing them for that job, to be able to go in and to represent themselves on the highest professional level. So we're going to get there. We have a great group of individuals within our teaching facility and within our staff. We have some locally recognized chefs as well. We actually have a chef with the Michael Simons Group, which is probably a pretty big name for some people that watch the Food Network. He's actually one of my primary instructors for our Farm to Fork class, and we'll be taking on another class as I develop him, as I do all my students, to really give that challenge and that series of skill sets. So we appreciate your time. We have for you, if you would like, we can bring you some of our nice little goodies that we had. We whipped them up this morning. Some of you already had breakfast the other day with us, so in the honor of Valentine's Day, obviously we made some chocolate mousse and white chocolate mousse and some little cream puffs. We only had about 45 minutes, so we really threw it together quick, but that's what we do. We make things happen. And we have also brought for you, if you will assist and take at least, there's 6, let's go up there with those, and then maybe take some of the chocolates, and then we'll leave the rest for your attendees. But we have our sights set on some special things. We have a program very similar to what the Tri-C program does in Cuyahoga County. They do the Cleveland Eats. Well, last year we turned around and we made a event called the Nosh, and Nosh means to snack. So the school has provided us another 2 years to go ahead and pull this project off that highlights not only the academic but also the non-culinary institute side of it. And we are going to offer this year a
Hi,
farmer's
Shontae. How
market,
are
so
you?
we're going to bring the farmers down on that same day. We do ice carving, we have demonstrations in every classroom that anybody can go attend, very short, very to the point, and just a lot of fun to kind of show our dimension. So we're very
We need one
proud
for the
of it.
camera guy in the back.
Yeah, he'll cut
See
you
how I
off if
got
he doesn't
your
get his
back.
chocolate. I know how that works. I used to do TV on Channel 5 and 83, and if you didn't bring something for them to snack on in the beginning,
Yeah, put it
you got
right-
about 3 minutes out of 5, so.
Well, actually, it was
we get-
last week, I did Now Cleveland
Yeah.
program with Chef
Thank
Robbie Lucas from Cork.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Great guy,
And,
very talented chef.
Very talented chef, and, you know, talking about our restaurant week coming up, we were talking about Sage and Seed, gonna be presenting here, we had asked for that and everything. He had highest compliments about what the college does here also, so.
It's nice to be recognized
Yeah,
on
they've got
that
a nice
level. We,
reputation, you do a great job, I mean, every time I've eaten there, it's been wonderful, whether it's catering or actually eating at the restaurant.
Well, I understood you guys had the Eggs Benedict with brunch with a farmer. I think
yeah.
that was
Yeah,
yours,
yeah.
wasn't it?
We had a lot of
I
great food.
I wasn't able to
Saturday
be there
morning.
for that, but I have eaten at the restaurant 3 times. And I
will
will
eat.
tell you, the food is really, really good.
Yeah.
So the pictures he takes really isn't his cooking.
Oh, it's my
Somebody else's.
cooking. I don't take those pictures, but I will tell you that the students there are amazing. They're accommodating. They're really enthused about what they're doing, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it's been pretty crowded every time I've been there, so you do take reservations there.
well, I will tell you, when we first started off, this is where we've grown. When we first started off, these students, there used to be 18 chefs in the kitchen and 18 servers out front to do 40 people a night in service. And so when I looked at that and I had the opportunity and I stepped into my role, I said that's not a challenging situation. So I dropped that enrollment down by half. I could probably drop that in half now because of the level of skill set that each student possesses to put it out. So we are giving them that demanding, you know, but they are ambassadors of the program to the highest level because they are now putting their signature on that food going out. And sometimes you get a dish that just isn't perfect, and it's part of the natural process and the teaching. And so we take the feedback, and we're not insulted by it. It's all constructive. So when we go back to them and say, it's going to happen, you know. So this is something that you build upon, and it is a wonderful experience. I have yet to eat there. I always eat in the back because I try and taste everybody's food. But I do look through the window and I do see the responses and the Clean Plate Club, as we call it, coming back in. And that's just a beautiful amount of support from the community and just an overwhelming feeling to have these students actually reach that level because you feel like they are ready to go out. They are ready to go take on these challenges. And so we have a wonderful opportunity there.
I do highly recommend the pork belly and the lamb shank.
Two of my favorite foods.
We're still working on the duck a little bit, but I think we're getting closer.
Yeah, you know, some people had to go, well, yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. So, you know, we hear the things that we need to do, and as the director, each day is only as good as the day before, and you can always be better that next day. So we take everything and we try and re-challenge ourselves. Even at my level, I have high demands of the level that I have to perform at. So it sets the tone, and so we're going to keep on recreating this thing until we reach that top.
This is our backyard, Commissioners.
Right.
This is our community. This is what's happening there. You know, they talked about this culinary school for a very long time out there, and the last piece of the puzzle was when Jane and Ben Norton made the naming donation to bring that last piece together. I know you've all visited out there, but they have events out there with the kitchens, and I think a few people have toured your kitchen that have eaten there, and you've taken them through the kitchen.
I offer tours, so when I'm there, I'll offer tours. I'll walk them through all the kitchens. I'll tell them what they're designed for. One of the things that we are really looking to do is get a little bit more community involved. There's an incubator kitchen that is kind of on the outskirts of being discussed right now. The kitchen is already suited inside of one of our classrooms with electrical and plumbing and everything to be put in, minus the equipment. So that kitchen would be used for trademarking, for production, for people that are on the small business side that can't afford these kitchens, that can come in and utilize us under federal inspection, bottle, can, and be able to move that into the outside sources that would buy them, as far as chains and
Yeah, I remember, 15 years ago, we were trying to get Johnson & Wales here, and then we
Yes.
tried the Culinary Institute of America. We just weren't able to lasso any of that, and so we built our own.
Yeah, yeah.
And your presence here has been amazing the last 2 years. I can only tell you, it's gone from little bit of ho-hum to excitement.
Yeah, and well, it's exciting. Well, ironically, I had a conversation with Dr. Ballinger, the president, and she said, you know, back in the day, we were trying to match up with Johnson & Wales. And, you know, within the last month, they pulled out, and I said, can I share something with you? I'm a graduate of Johnson & Wales from Rhode Island. And I graduated shortly after. A gentleman named Emeril Lagasse used to walk the hallways, so we used to pass. And I said, let me see what I can put to this program. And so she put together a team to help support me, and that has been the key to this thing really taking off, is that when I do need to get that extra support, or I need that advice, or what are the chains and the processes, they are our approach, and they're handled fairly quickly so that we streamline exactly what's happening. And that has been the major key to our surprising fire into this, as we call it, into this entrepreneurship. It's just been phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you for coming to Lorain County Community College. I've had a chance to see you interact with the community and with the students, and the energy you bring, the professionalism, the mentoring, the guidance. They really couldn't have picked a better candidate. So we really appreciate your dedication to this program, and President Ballinger and Lorain County Community College continues to have the wow factor, always wowing us with something new that's being done and innovative, and you know, and out there competing with the big schools all the time. That's something that people in the state don't realize, how not every single county has a community college, and very few counties who have a community college can actually say they have a community college that competes with the big universities and competes nationally like our college does. Very innovative.
Yeah, we're not afraid to go toe to toe. You know, we've got a good foundation, and we have the students to do it. We know how to get there, and so I've been there. That's what I want to bring. You know, it's, you know, I'm grateful for your words of encouragement and everything, but I'm honored to have this position. You know, 30 years in an industry, to be able to come and give back. That's what this is all about. It's, you know, now it's paying it forward, and the students are getting it too. So, enough about that. We'd just like to see you all come to the restaurant at this point and really experience all this that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
And
Thank you,
for those
Adam.
people that don't have a menu, if you go to Sage and Seed and just put that in your Google search, the menu will pop up. So
We're going
we
to wow
looked at,
them
we
with the
checked
menus
it
in
on
the back of
Saturday.
the room. See, wow factor was one of the things that you got it. You know, even on this last brunch with the farmers, you know, every year it's a buffet. This year I said, no, wow. You get them in the beginning, and you get that excitement, and you've got them. And that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Love it.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Pork belly, duck breast, and lamb shank. I'd be like in heaven.
Calamari, I
The-
love calamari.
Look, I've eaten most of the menu. I'm not ashamed to say that. We share, so we get something different, and I've eaten most of the menu, and with exception of a little bit
On the duck.
cooked duck that the chef mentioned, everything has been amazingly fantastic, and I will suggest that the prices are nice. And you're not going to get any better service. The students are just, you know, this is part of their curricula, so they're out there to please you. And they do serve wine, so you can order a glass of wine with your dinner, which is always nice.
You know, kind of religious day, the Ash Wednesday and all, it's sort of like the Holy Trinity, the pork belly, the duck, and the lamb shank.
There you go.
Okay, all right. But they're open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so please, you
Yeah.
guys come out. Jerry's bringing friends from Cuyahoga, I think you said, to take them to dinner there.
Yeah,
So,
I'm definitely going,
Yeah.
great.
Madam Clerk.
now that we're all hungry.
Community Development War Contract to Gen Med Construction LLC, Lorain, in the amount of $6,493, which includes a contingency for any unforeseen change orders for Patricia Shasser at 656 Maple View Avenue, Chevrolet, for grant assistance for home repair with work to be paid from the CHIP PY16 account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Amendment Resolution 17328 adopted May 17, 2017, awarding contract to number 4 Green Home Solutions Cleveland in the amount of $5,967 for Gail Parsons at 117 Beachdale at Avon Lake, Ohio for home repair. The amendment is to reflect the correct account number.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Engineer, approve and enter in general engineer services agreement with Richland Engineering Limited, Mansfield, in amount not to exceed $150,000.
Yeah.
I know.
That's supposed to be a dollar sign.
Capitalized.
As part of a 12-month task order to be paid from the engineer's account and authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors' approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Approve and enter an emergency contract with Precision Paving Milan in the amount not to exceed $159,891 for immediate repairs to field culvert on Portman Road, culvert 0116, Brownhelm and Henrietta Townships.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. For those of you who didn't remember, there's still flowers available at the grocery store, so you don't go home and get people mad.
Need flowers? My wife has me.
Oh.
Better save
Well, you
that.
married it.
I'm gonna take this home.
There you go.
Look what I got, honey.
I know you, so I know you'll do that. And, I remember packing a few desserts sometimes for Wendy when we were out. But you married it twice, so behave yourself. You didn't learn your lesson the first time, and now you're stuck.
Peter just grabbed one for his wife.
Peter's taking one home to his wife. You made me lose my train of
Sorry.
thought. Got a plug Restaurant Week. It's coming up soon. March 2nd, second annual. We have added a couple restaurants late.
Oh.
We did get Oberlin back in.
Oh, good.
I forget, we had two, Oberlin and another one. I was glad that Oberlin, got in with us. The question was, well, can we let them in? I'm like, what, are you kidding me?
That's what, restaurant
I think we got
1833?
8 or 9, and, what's that?
Restaurant 1833 or 1883? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. They're in.
In the Oberlin Inn.
So it's expanded a little bit. Please go out and plug this thing as best you can. Start Facebook friending the links to it. As you know, foodies don't know any boundaries, and of course, like Jerry, he's bringing his friends over for dinner at the college, and people usually dine and they socialize a lot with that, and they do bring their friends. So I'm really excited about seeing if we can better last year's performance. And I will tell you that on top of Restaurant Week, we're getting ready. We talked about the Battle of the Wings. It was a wing thing, I think Commissioner Kokoski said. And so that's hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll get some more information on how we're going to handle that. And I met with the people that dealt with the best of Lorain County. We're going to accelerate that. We're going to bring it together with some of the things with the Visitors Bureau, and I'm meeting with the college about re-energizing the best of Lorain County. I will tell you, it's the second best attended function. The one at La Center is still a little bigger over in Cuyahoga, but we're right behind them. And this year, we're at the point now where it's time to re-energize. It was a great event last year, but I want to really start bringing it out bigger. I want to make this the place that we draw when we bring
How are we
people
gonna
out.
make it bigger? Barely fit, people
Tents.
barely fit?
Tents.
Oh, tents, okay.
Tents
I'm talking-
Inside, outside?
Yeah.
I'm talking, a whole rethinking of how we do this. You don't wait until your event's failing. Our event's still successful.
Very
We bring
successful.
out a lot of people, but I want to do something while it's successful.
Make it bigger.
And we're
Okay.
talking about, can we tent some of the parking lots? We're talking about potentially bringing in food trucks to have the battle with the food trucks. Because as we talk, we were talking about maybe over at Avon at the ballpark stage, but you got to guarantee them an audience. Well, we have an audience of 600 to 800 people. Now, they do get some free food from the vendors, as they're competing, but, we can also be working with maybe some food trucks out there. So I'm looking for some place that will have immediate attraction to other people that want to come there. There's so much more we can be doing, and when we do it together, we're going to be successful. So that's Pulse Magazine that we've been supporting for a while. I told you I had some problems with them, but I did meet, and we need more. We need more energy. And as Commissioner Kokoski keeps coming to my office, that's been my key words since early in the year. It's about energy. And so I'll have a lot more coming to you in the coming weeks over that as we try to make Lorain County a little bit more of a destination rather than a pit stop. I'm very excited about what the future holds. So Restaurant Week, 2nd of March, I'm expecting Commissioner Kalo to eat at least 3 restaurants.
Well, I'm gonna do more than that.
Okay. I'm shooting for 2, but you can certainly, we don't have an award for the most attended like we do with the burger. Okay, just letting you
Actually, when
know.
we did the interview with Robbie Lucas and the lady from now Cleveland, Beth, I don't remember what her name was, real nice lady. And I told her, about all the burgers I ate. She said, how did you eat that many burgers? Well, it was lunch and dinner. You can get 2 in a day. It's just hard to get all those restaurants in a week.
Yeah.
Well, Commissioner, for a moment, for those people that wonder what we're up to with this stuff, especially to the Visitors Bureau, we have to create opportunity for people to come here.
Right.
We have to create, and we have to support, in a similar time period, people that build knowledge that these things are going on. It's worked in other communities, and it'll work here. And first, we got to get our people to want to stay here and enjoy what's in their own backyard. So that's an education process. And then we got to get them to invite their friends to come here, and then past that, we got other people that way outside our boundaries going, hey, it's Food Week in Lorain County. I remember I ate Strip, or I ate at Nemo's or Parker's, and I want to go back there for Restaurant Week. And we have to create that kind of excitement. Remember when we did the Battle of the Burgers, the Cleveland media came to us. They were like, we hear like stuff's going on in Lorain County. We didn't call them, they called us.
And we're starting at the end of their
We are,
Colorado's, right?
we are.
That's kind of why we did it.
I didn't want to compete with them.
Right.
Let's face facts. We can't compete with Cuyahoga County. We can't compete with the great metropolitan area and the things that they offer there. We need to offer what's good for us and what the flavor of our community is. So going toe-to-toe with them is not the answer. We'll never be able to win.
We have free parking.
But we do.
I said that multiple times. Free parking.
So we're going to take what we have, we're going to work with what we have, and we're going to demonstrate our commitment to that. And people that do restaurant weeks, one after the other, is not going to affect how they're going to go out.
Right.
And so I'm going to keep shamelessly plugging our restaurant week and the things that we're going to do there. And each year we got to make it better. We got to get more energy in it, and I think we're doing a real good job with that. But stay tuned for the best of, because it's going to be the best of. And I'm meeting with all the partners, and I want to be able to announce a lot of things in March to get ready for July or August with that. Okay. So I have some more. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis.
I do have one matter of pending litigation to discuss with you in executive session.
Just one?
Commissioners report.
Just to let everyone know, this Saturday, there's going to be a home and remodeling show at the Emerald Event Center at Just Imagine Drive in Avon. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission and parking are free, and there'll be food and activities for the whole family. So go on out. They have about 50 exhibitors from all across the building industry. This past Thursday, I had my Stepping Up Initiative meeting, monthly meeting, and I received a lot of great feedback on the Golden Acres project that was reported on last week. It's the consensus of all those entities dealing with the opioid problem that Golden Acres would be a great place to fill the void that we have and fill the gaps with that situation. I, as reported, attended brunch with a farmer on Saturday morning, and besides the great meal that we had, I also had a conversation with Nathan Manning, state representative, about the capital improvement project for Golden Acres, and basically begged and told him I'd be forever grateful for that capital improvement money for Golden Acres, and stressed the importance of how important it is for our community.
No, he's not the representative there, but our position has been that this is the four corners of Lorain County.
It's
even though-
countywide.
Oh, it's
It's
absolutely
countywide,
for the whole
so,
county, yeah.
right.
And the brunch, like I said, was amazing. Learned a lot from the various speakers at this forum as it relates to farming and how new technology plays into how things are done on the farm, from the GPS systems on the combines to drones checking the crops. It's a pretty great event.
Well, agricultural is still our biggest industry in
Yeah.
Lorain County, and people don't realize that. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like the GPS, the combines know when to put product down to help, with the fields, nutrients or whatever, when not to put it down. It's like easy now, and a lot less product wasted, so pretty cool. And then Tuesday we had our land bank meeting, and then the kickoff to the Harvest for Hunger campaign, which everyone knows now that I'm the honorary chairperson for that. First woman to be honorary chairperson. There's a lot of ways to participate besides cash donations and food drives. You can also go to Giant Eagle and donate at the checkout lines. And then there's small businesses that are donating a percentage of their sales to the campaign, like our clerk Teresa with her Dove chocolate. Thank you, Teresa. Sharon Pearson runs a bridal show, and she's a councilwoman in Oberlin, and she also has a tours and travel agency, so they're donating money through that. So thank you to everybody that's participating. It's a great initiative. $1 donated serves 5 meals, and there's a lot of need out in Lorain County that you'd be surprised. So they also had a OGO. It was a couple girls that came to present, and they go in. First they did trucks, and now they do buses. They go to the community where the needs are and give out food, whatever's going on. If it was Halloween, they gave out pumpkins, let the kids pick out a pumpkin, Christmas trees, Christmas presents, but mostly food. And you know, people, there's needs, and they don't have transportation, so they're going in the community where the needs are and
Do they
helping those
still-
people.
Whatever happened to their big food event?
They still have it.
They still have
I
it?
attend it every year.
Because I asked Commissioner Kokoski
Harvest for
about it.
Hunger?
Yeah, they have. They
The
used to have-
second helpings. I
Used to be
attend
an
every year.
amazing event. I haven't been out there for a couple of years.
Yeah, it
but
sells out every year, and,
I haven't been since they moved to the new building, so.
oh, okay. Yeah, no, I
uh,
never miss it. It's a wonderful organization,
Yeah.
does a lot of help.
They do. I've
Hopefully
learned a
they go out
lot.
of- Hopefully they go out of business someday.
Yeah, I doubt that. Hopefully they don't cut the food stamp program in half like
Oh.
President Trump was discussing.
Oh,
And,
we're gonna send boxes.
yeah, send boxes, half of it send boxes. So I actually had her, she's gonna send me a letter that we can maybe do a resolution against that idea, because she knows how much it costs to do what they do, and it would be more cost effective to continue doing things the way that we're doing it now, so.
Yeah,
But I will get that actual information so we can do a resolution should they decide to do something like that.
That's ridiculous.
Bad
on
idea,
a
very bad
federal
idea.
level. Absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, I remember when we did the ribbon opening and I spoke after Congressman Jordan. He was talking about how important the food bank was while he's trying to cut the SNAP benefits in DC. I just,
Yeah.
Uh.
Happy Thanksgiving, or Happy Thanksgiving.
you got food on your mind.
Thanksgiving. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh,
End
yeah.
my report.
Busy week. Again, the announcements on the capital grants. I'd like to thank my 2 commissioners, all the work on the opioid effort. They've done a really good job in regards to that. Again, the Cleveland Now interview for Restaurant Week kicking off. Real excitement talking about that and how it just generates people. Again, no borders. They come across. So again, just promote. Let's promote Lorain County. Also, business stuff, NOACA Governance Committee and Executive Committee both met on Friday. Moving our agenda forward, especially in regards to projects in Lorain County and TLCI grants that'll be moved forward. We've got almost $2 million that'll go within the region for actually getting projects started, not just the studies, but the actual implementation part of it, which we worked on a couple years ago, initiative that I brought out that I think, you know, it's really nice to have the studies, but we need money to actually get projects going. So be nice, there'll be some nice announcements for Lorain County. Lorain County Solid Waste Policy Committee met, working on Appendix H of the multiple appendixes that the Ohio EPA requires on how we're gonna move our plan forward and the issues we're gonna deal with. So we'll be meeting monthly to get that done. Hope to have it completed by June down to the Ohio EPA to approve the policy moving forward. Also County Land Bank, a lot of discussion on disposal of properties. We'll be finishing up some paperwork and getting that posted on our website on how to have residents look if they want to side lot an empty property. We've demoed them, they've been maintained. You know, now it's time to put them into some taxable use by people owning them and paying taxes on them. So, end of my report.
Yeah, I'd just like to report that the feedback that I've received in the past week since our announcement around the Fire and Police Memorial has been very positive, along with the feedback on our Recovery One project. Can't stress enough to the taxpayers of Lorain County, if you'll please make a phone call, send a letter, encourage your state reps, whether it's Ramos, Stein, Manning, or Senator Manning, that you strongly support these initiatives with the hope that we'll be able to secure state dollars to make that happen. It's a really unique partnership and certainly something that is badly needed for the county. I think will be a wise investment by the taxpayers in the county. to make this initiative come together. Sympathies, condolences go out again to the John Bender family. They had their funeral mass on Thursday at St. Jude Church, and just so many great words about John. He was my mentor and taught me a lot about public service, and served our community extremely well, and learned some of the inside stories about John. And I think you and I were talking with his wife Sue at the funeral home how he used to work at when he was going to the University of Pittsburgh. I guess especially he was a floor monitor, I guess, along with Mike Ditka, and that should be a familiar name for people. So he knew him quite well, and how he almost got, I guess, punched in the face by a then James Trafficant before he became a congressman, because he was trying to leave the building, and John was trying to stop him from leaving the building. So I guess Mr. Trafficant was getting in trouble early in life, let alone later in life, unfortunately. But so some interesting stories there. But yeah, just a great man and greatly missed. Brunch with the farmers. Had a chance to work at the serving line there. I could have swore they were pulling up buses, because the line just kept coming and coming and coming, and we were serving up all that food. And the students and the chef did an excellent job of preparing a lot of those meals using product from our local farms. And
Well, how many people knew we were raising tilapia in Lorain County?
Yeah, through the aquaponics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I know when I was in Columbus, we did some research on aquaculture and things like that, and kept thinking, why can't we raise walleye and Lake Erie perch and sell it to people? We had that conversation yesterday about
why?
Right, exactly. And about only, at least the statistics I saw, I believe it's even lower than this now, but last time I saw it was around 24% is domestic fish. I think we're all surprised by that, because we think, geez, there must be a lot of domestic fish that's consumed in this country, but it's actually quite low. But what we found out from our research down there is the walleye doesn't grow fast enough, the Lake Erie perch doesn't grow fast enough to be effective, cost-effective, and make it profitable. I remember having a conversation with a guy in Indiana who tried the venture and just lost his shirt. I mean, pretty much lost almost everything. But tilapia, as was explained at the brunch with the farmer, is what they call bulletproof, because it seems like it's just the easiest fish to raise. They're actually doing aquaculture in Brooklyn, New York, Milwaukee. So when you see tilapia on the menus everywhere, there's a reason for that. But no, I didn't know we were raising tilapia in Lorain County.
I'm ashamed to say I did not either until I found out that, because I asked them about that when I was at the restaurant, because they do the farm to table, and I said, well, yeah, of course, where are you getting the tilapia? And they said, from the farm.
From lettuce heads.
And I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, didn't know it at all. Continuing with my report, had a chance to present commendations on behalf of the county commissioners to the students who were the winners of the VFW 1079 post for the Patriot Pen and Voices of Democracy winners. Thought the students did just an amazing job, and we know the future is very bright. I think four of the students actually stressed the importance of how they were so thankful that members of their family were able to come to this country a long time ago, so that they could be here today to enjoy this country, and that's something that they said they felt should continue. Very bright youth in our society nowadays. They get it. WEOL was invited to be on the radio station, talk about the Lakefront Connectivity Plan, which will be rolling out the final plan with a presentation here at the board either late February or early March. But WEOL celebrating, I think, their 70th anniversary. So they've been around for a long time. So important to have local radio instead of all this conglomerate and syndicated stuff that's not localized and not truly committed to the community. But they really provide a true community service, WEOL and OBL and all the radio stations here locally. Very excited about the progress we're making with the land bank. A lot of good things that we're putting in place there. As Lori pointed out, concerned about the president's budget, the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, some $500 billion, I guess, over the next 10 years for each one of those programs, and we're going to add $7 trillion to the deficit. So I don't know about, his definition of fiscal responsibility, but that's certainly not fiscal responsibility.
And let me interrupt. They're going to work on a transportation plan now for infrastructure. Concerned how they're gonna pay for that.
with the private sector, which would mean you end up with toll roads and everything else, and very concerned about the cut to Lake Erie restoration, the Great Lakes restoration from 300 million, to the 30 million. We crossed that bridge before. I thought we were beyond that, but apparently it's come back to life. We all know how critical it is to have a healthy Lake Erie. And also, there's an event coming up on the 24th in Columbus so that everybody can speak out against this new push by the Republican majority for right to work. I think the residents of Ohio, the taxpayers, made it very clear that they support collective bargaining. And I think the legislature should take note of that, but it's unfortunate that this push is coming up yet again. But I'm very proud to say I'm very happy to serve with a board here that supports collective bargaining. And that completes my report.
Tuesday at 9:30, we'll have our annexation of the 36.15 acres from Meehan Township to the city of Elyria. Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anyone looking to address the board, come on up, Jeff.
Good morning. Jeff Baxter, 160 Burns Road, Elyria, Ohio, Elyria resident. I wanted to continue talking this morning about transparency for the Board of Commissioners and submitting information to Lorain County voters. My focus this morning is really on transit. There's been a lot of talk in the last 60 days about some things with transit via the cut rates of December 1st, where the rate was reduced. And that was not something that had been publicly discussed so that people could hear it, but it was announced on that date. On the 18th of December, there was a study provided, I believe, by NOACA funds that had been going on for a period of time that was discussed in a public forum, and that's a good thing. At the time of that, there was a request made for public comment on that study. And that study period ended on the 15th of January, if I'm correct on that. And today it's the 14th of February, and there has not been anything announced that I'm aware of as I scour looking for information on that particular topic. So I want just to understand, is this something that's just going to be told to the voters, this is how it's going to be, or is there going to be some other opportunity to absorb the public comment by the people and to understand the plans that are going to come forth for transit? So I just with some background information, just kind of asking that question. And I would recommend that there be some ability to tell the people of Lorain County, the citizens, that ultimately are paying the taxes that are going to go for that, how it's going to go. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, elected officials, Teresa Shea, 519 East Avenue. Since I first came here to speak about the lack of transportation in Lorain County, I have seen no change. In the freezing cold and wind, the people of my neighborhood walk 1.5 miles to the Rite Aid, or further to Convenient, and miles to Apple's food store. I see my future as a disabled old person when my car goes. I observe the care you as commissioners give to the projects that are important to you. The elevators and foyers of an important building being restored, the beauty of the transportation center, a new facility being planned for drug people where old people were displaced with little thought. Where are the people you threw out of Golden Acres? Rich and poor wonder. A priority is once again our criminals when it should be the people who want to work and need transportation. You have to be on time for work and school, and you have to have transportation where you are not wet or frozen or disheveled from the walk. Licata has not solved our problems with the drug people
and you have done nothing for my problem. Refocus. Write it down. Refocus. I was here when you said some of the millions of dollars from sales tax increase was for transit. The tax increased. Now you seem to want to not use that money or any real money for a fully branched, including the side roads and the main roads, transit system. Do you want to only focus on good buildings and facilities for drug users and criminals, or will you finally see that the NOACA study in full is what is needed? People before drugs and criminals, all necessary, but we are first. Thank you.
Anyone else to address? If not, please grab a dessert. I'll make a motion to go executive
Well, I
session.
see Peter ate his.
All
so
right, Peter ate
I-
his.
oh,
Peter, you can have one more if it's left
Is-
over.
what's
You
your,
can beat me
how
to
was it, Peter?
The cream puff is very good. I ate it right before Jeff spoke. Motion, go in executive session is outlined by the county prosecutor and county administrator.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Kalo?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.